Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show. And I'm here on the show to talk about some NFL news. I had episode number 271 last night. Talked about a lot of news here, and we have a little bit of stuff to talk about here. So we're going to watch the one from last night. So it's episode 272. So, Bill Belichick, Bay of the Great Health Show, he talked about picking Mac Jones in the first round, with that 15th overall pick, I believe. And Bill Belichick on picking Mac Jones in the first round, quote, "Organizationally, we thought it was the right thing to do," end quote. He was asked later in the press conference a similar question. Collectively, we were all for it. Obviously, it wasn't good organizationally. At the time, it was a good pick. Cam Newton had a bum shoulder, unless he wanted to play Jared Stidham and Brian Hoyer, maybe draft Davis Mills in the second round or something. It was a smart pick. It just didn't work out at all. After that rookie year, it just didn't work out. The offense that team just isn't good. Like, offensively, just not good at all. And Mac Jones he's broken, man. I don't see him succeeding. I don't see him succeeding, man, in New England. So we have a pretty crazy stat about the NFL fines from at the FOS, Front Office Sports. The entire 2022 season, we had 166 infractions, $15,448,694 in fines this year, 326 infractions. Through week 11, this is through the entire season, 166 last year. And we basically have more money in fines through week 11, 326 infractions. We have 326 infractions, $15,578,867 in fines. I wonder where that money's going, NFL. Wonder where that money's going. You're fining these players for, which some of these fines players get are stupid for playing football. The NFL's just desperate for money. I mean, if this doesn't tell you the NFL's desperate for money, then I don't know what is. NFL's basically stealing money from players. Like, does this not go towards like charity or something, or what does this go for? If you're fining these players for, which is stupid. What some of the fines get, like Amon-Ra St. Brown had a terrible fine for blogging. Josh Jacobs had 2 terrible fines. There's been multiple terrible fines this year. So, per your report, we talked about it last night where David Tepper was frustrated. He was seen leaving the locker room, shaking his head and yelling, "Fuck, fuck." And then there was per report that Frank Wright, they're going to reevaluate him after the season. Well, I guess plans changed because we had some breaking news today. The hashtag Panthers have fired head coach Frank Wright at 9:44 a.m. this morning via Tom Pelissero. That's crazy. Already, only in the first year he got fired. That was fast. I think they had to. I don't think they had any other choice. I just don't think they had any other choice. I mean, he's just not a good coach at this point. With that roster, I don't think anyone's doing anything. It's just that franchise is a mess. Tepper's just ruining Charlotte sports over there. They should have kept Steve Wilkes, but the owner likes to lose. I don't know why they didn't keep Steve Wilkes. Said they brought in Frank Wright, who just isn't a good coach anymore. And I figured this wouldn't work out, and it didn't work out, so he got fired. And so the big question is, if the Panthers didn't make the mistake of passing on C.J. Stroud, is Frank Wright fired today? That's a big question right there. I mean, at his pro day, it seems Wright and Josh McCown wanted Stroud, but Wright later said Tepper, quote, didn't stay away on decisions. But Tepper didn't let him pick his QB. I mean, that's kind of why. I mean, I know he could have drafted him, made the wrong choice. But that offensive line is garbage. That whole roster is just garbage. And it took Andy Dalton 58 throws to reach 300 yards in that game. That offensive line just isn't good. And they just don't have the talent. I mean, like, you have a 33-year-old as your wide receiver one. Like, Adam Thielen's underrated. I think he's still good. But he's not a wide receiver one. Like, you need to get better talent and better offensive line around him. The team and roster is just bad in general. Like, the offensive line regressions, O-line injuries, zero limits on offense. Miles Sanders paid him that big contract for him just to do nothing. And the defense Freak injuries made this an impossible situation. In hindsight, CMC and DJ Moore were simply carrying the Stars for 5 to 6 wins per year, maybe 7. It's just that team's not good. I don't think it would matter if they have C.J. Stroud, because I don't think C.J. Stroud would be as good with the Panthers. Not because he isn't talented, it's just a different situation. The Texans have a better roster right now than the Panthers. I don't think either QB would succeed with this Panthers team. But the Panthers released a statement on the firing of Frank Wright. They're in a bad spot now. They're 1-10, but they don't owe their first round picks, which goes to the hashtag Bears. They're not seeing a ton from first overall pick Bryce Young, because they have a lack of talent around him. Just a dumpster fire of a team. I don't know when they made this decision. It must have been this morning, because I thought they were going to fire him at the end of the year, but they didn't waste any time. So an update: the hashtag Eagles have increasing interest in pursuing former hashtag Colts linebacker Shaq Leonard, per Josiah Anderson. Leonard is reportedly meeting with the hashtag Cowboys this week, per Calvin Watkins. I think he's gonna take his time on making a decision who he's gonna sign with. Hashtag Eagles QB Jalen Hurts tells media that he isn't concerned with winning the MVP award. Quote, "That's not for me to concern or roll with. I just try to get out there and play to the standard and be the best I can be for my team. There were times today I felt like I didn't do that, but when it mattered most, I felt like we did a good job doing what we needed to do. We played team football, communicate well, and that's all in that comes what happened. We really were on the same page when it mattered most, and that's all you can ask for. Anything else that I'm named or people want to roll with, I guess that's for them to do so. He balled out with an impressive second half comeback. He should at least be in the conversation. I would take Dak Prescott, my quarterback. I think he's played better this year. But Jalen Hurts, I think, will be in the conversation. So an update. Once again, the NFL has, quote, randomly selected Colts running back Jonathan Taylor to be drug tested. It's not the first time this season either, so this is a, I guess, random drug test. Taylor had 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, and ran for 6.1 yards per carry in the Colts win over the Bucs on Sunday. Quote, drug test right on time, he said. Why don't they drug test the owner, Jim Irsay? Because he'd probably fail. But is that supposed to be like a monster game? Like, yeah, I mean, 91 yards and 15 carries is good, but that's not a, we need a check for PEDs or something illegal. That's the second time this has happened to him. So, 16 years ago today, the great Sean Taylor tragically passed away from injuries he sustained while protecting his family during an invasion of his Florida home. Man, he's missed. Like, he was the greatest safety when he played. Unfortunately, I was never able to, watch Sean Taylor play, because he played before I was born. But 16 years ago, man, just crazy. Already 16 years. So, now we talk about another report. Per report, multiple hashtag Panthers players found out about the firing of Frank Wright through social media, and not from the team, per at Mike EK. A meeting was called shortly thereafter. Another messy situation by owner David Tepper. You can't even tell the players, man. I hate why these teams, can they just not tell it straight to the player's face? Oh yeah, we fired this coach, instead of just not telling them. They find out on social media, like, why can't you just tell the players to their face? Oh yeah, we fired the coach. He's doing a disastrous job. Just an awful situation. Just absolute dumpster fire. Like, I genuinely feel bad for Panthers fans. They don't deserve this shit. Like, this is embarrassing. Especially when you can't tell the freaking players that they fired their coach, and they find out through social media. Like, players should find out before they look at social media. So we have an update about Justin Jefferson. Hashtag Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson will not play on Monday Night Football against the Bears, but he's, quote, very close to returning via at Tom Pelissero. The Vikings have a bye week next week. Then play the hashtag Raiders on week 14. That's when he should be back. So after the bye week, he should be back. I think he's making a business decision not to play to, re-injure himself. And an update. there could be 7 to 10 hashtag NFL teams looking for new head coaches, Adam Shepard believes. He believes 7 to 10 teams could be looking for new head coaches. The hashtag Raiders already fired Josh McDaniels, and the hashtag Panthers already fired Frank Wright via the Pat McAfee show. Man, the NFL's in shambles, man. 7 to 10 new coaches? I mean, they've already fired 2. I think Brandon Staley could be a candidate to be next. Ron Rivera. I think those would be the next 2 that will get fired this season. Or, well, not, maybe after the season. The Bears could be a possibility. The Falcons, I don't know about the Giants, but maybe the Bengals, the Bucks, Patriots, I don't know. So the Raiders are expected to cut Pro Bowl cornerback Marcus Peters, that was reported last night. And today they officially released veteran quarterback Marcus Peters. And he's washed. He was terrible. So the Bills player Jordan Phillips claims that, the Eagles fan, if you saw the video, having a confrontation. He claims the Eagles fans were threatening him and his family. That's what led to his reaction on the viral video. He said on Instagram, "I love the crowd. I love rowdy fans. It may seem fun, but one thing I'm not going to tolerate is someone threatening me or my family. This is a line that shouldn't be crossed." So, not surprised, man. Eagles fans, probably one of the most toxic fans ever. So, hashtag Raiders are cutting safety Roderick Tamer following his DUI arrest. I guess they have that brand new Raiders, man, no tolerance policy. I guess they don't have a tolerance for that now. I mean, no team should. So we had some breaking news with the Frank Wright firing. Also following that, the hashtag Panthers have fired QB coach Josh McCown and assistant head coach running back coach Deuce Staley, per Tom Pelissero. They're both good coaches. An absolute nightmare to be in that organization. I feel like they're both good coaches. I mean, I know people about, oh yeah, you have 3 touchdowns in 11 weeks. You have one of the worst O-lines in the NFL. That has absolutely nothing to do with Deuce Staley. He's a good-ass coach. Like, that is a terrible firing, in my opinion. Right there, their owner is freaking horrible. That is a terrible, terrible firing. So, update. Hashtag Eagles Den. Hassan Reddick claims that the hashtag 49ers spent last season, quote, crying and saying a lot of, quote, what ifs following their loss in the NFC Championship game. The two teams had a back and forth all offseason what could have happened if QB Brock Purdy was healthy during the game. There was a lot of boo-hoos last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this, a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that shit up, and prove it again. I mean, the Eagles players are making excuses after they lost the Super Bowl. So, I mean, they did the same thing after Super Bowl, so there's a lot of what ifs from them, so I don't want to hear it. So, per report, Chiefs wide receiver Justin Ross is no longer facing criminal charges, per KNBC. The 23-year-old was facing 2 charges for felony criminal battery and misdemeanor domestic battery. The Johnson County District Attorney's Office has confirmed that Ross is no longer facing criminal charges after an application for diversion in his case was granted. So, charges were dropped. What's new for an NFL player? It's like the National Felons League. I mean, I guess the district attorney's a Chiefs fan. I mean, you can't. How does he get away with pushing his girlfriend over cheating claims? Like, he broke her stuff, then knifed her Mercedes during an altercation. Like, come on, man. Like, how's the? I guess that's the rookie privilege. Not rookie privilege, NFL player privilege. Update, hashtag Lions rookie 3rd-round pick QB Hendon Hooker could begin practicing soon, according to the team. He's been on the NFI list all season after tearing his ACL in college. He will definitely be a solid quarterback. Trending, Rex Ryan tells Bill Belichick the truth, quote, Tom Brady was the only reason you won anyway. Belichick's career record doesn't lie. Kinda, I mean, I know he took it back to the playoffs once, but I mean, he's not lying. So, update. Former hashtag Panthers coach Frank Wright speaks about his firing. NFL is a mediocrity. It's not unconditional love. I understand from a professional standpoint, Mr. Tepper is going to have certain standards that he expects to have met. I have no hard feelings. Well, he's still gonna be collecting that check. He's gonna be collecting that money. And update, hashtag Jaguars officially placed offensive tackle Cam Robinson on injured reserve. That's a huge loss to the Jaguars offensive line. The Texans, some breaking news, have claimed former hashtag Eagles first round pick defensive end Derek Barnett. But they need offensive line more than that, but whatever. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this NFL news. So until next time, peace.